Hi, I'm Matt from HockeyReviews.ca, and this is the JRZ. See where it says it. There we go. JRZ Fusion Blocker review. So thank you very much to JRZ for sending me this gear, so I could demo them out and do this review on. I have the other videos, which will be linked in the description for the pads and the blocker. So this blocker, a bit of a history about JRZ. Or JRZ. I always say Z by mistake anyways. So they're made out of Canada. They're in Quebec. They used to make Bauer. First they made iTech, and then they made Bauer goalie gear. So the last set was, I think, the Reactor 9000, with some 1X sets were made out of their factory. But now they are on their own and doing their own thing again. They're doing their custom thing, which is this. And with that said, my favorite blockers in the past were JRZ blockers. Specifically, Reactor 6000 was phenomenal. My 1X was phenomenal. And this is kind of going down that route as well. I was a huge fan of the Prime blocker in terms of like balance and everything, because it was basically a Reactor 9000, but needed a bit more padding. This thing is awesome. I'm really impressed with this as well. The whole set I'm very impressed with. So I guess we'll jump into it. One is the graphic I do not like. I'll just be really honest with that. It's way too busy. I couldn't get a design I really liked. On my set that I'm going to be ordering, I will be doing a custom design, just because I couldn't make this work any way I wanted to on the pads and on the glove. So, but regardless, we'll talk about the actual glove itself. So they actually have two options on this, which is really nice. So they have a normal plastic, and then they have a thicker plastic. Thicker plastic is there for bigger rebounds. It'll add 100 grams of weight, they said, to the board. That is what I'm going to go with, because I love huge rebounds on blockers. With that said, this blocker's rebounds are awesome. So I actually did a video on my Instagram page of the rebounds of this blocker in one of my games, and the thing just punched out. Now, sometimes I was punching them in the video. Other times it's just the direction, and the directing is what really impresses me about this, and it's what I'm looking for in a blocker. When I make a save, like when it's a shot in tight and you kind of have to squeeze your hand to your body, you don't have the ability to really punch the puck away for rebounds. So when I do that and I want to angle it, I'm expecting the blocker to have enough oomph on the board to angle that puck out of danger. So gloves like my Optic, the CCM E-Flex 4, they don't have that like stiff front face to really give you that like oomph to it. So that the rebounds to those just die too close to the net. They don't rebound off enough. This one is awesome for that, and I'm really impressed with what they've done there. So I'm going to go with the bit thicker one, just to get a little bit more rebound in that, basically, and a little bit stiffer board. With that said, this board is very stiff. There's no flexing at all, so you don't really have to worry about that, but it's just a personal preference thing there. So onto kind of the back section of this. This will probably be easier to see. My one criticism on the Prime blocker was there wasn't enough backhand padding. So I was feeling shots through the board itself. JRZ, I don't know if they listened to me or if they just had this planned anyways. You have this nice foam pack right here, backhand there, so your top of your wrist sits on there. Really nice soft foam underneath this too. So the foam seems much thicker on the backhand of this glove than it was before. You can actually kind of feel it right through there. Really nice, hopefully that's like that. Really nice thick foam there. Very impressive on JRZ's part. Either they listened or they knew it was an issue and beefed it up just like that. Great job on their part for that. This cuff is very Optic-esque. Kind of similar like the pads. It worked. I usually like ones that are kind of more stable, so you can kind of see how this one's sewn in all over the place. Hopefully that was on camera. That one's kind of sewn in. I don't have any issues with this though. Like, this does its job. It's protective enough for the weird things or slashes that will come through. It just is a little awkward and a little different to me. I'm not going to order anything custom with that. It's going to be the way it is. Sideboard is nice and rigid, as you can see, but my one complaint is it's not quite as hard on the side. Now, I like it when the boards are a bit stiffer, like the 2X is definitely a bit stiffer there. This board is composite, and that just doesn't flex quite as much as this does, right? So I like the stiffer boards because when you try to close that gap between your body and with the blocker like this, a puck could theoretically bounce in there, or push that down and kind of squeeze in. This isn't too soft, but I'm going to see if I can get maybe this reinforced with a plastic if that's possible on my order. this is that's kind of a more minimal thing. It's much better than my optic blocker, but it's just figured I'd point it out. The thumb is a pretty standard or simple design. You have a kind of a plastic outer piece or foam, just your thumb there. It is adjustable, so it can be tighter or looser. I just left it the way I got it, and everything was good there. Index finger or sideboard index finger protection is a bit different. So they did make this bigger than on the Prime one, which is nice. And this piece right here is a little bit thicker, but it does seem to seal pretty well. I don't have a stick right in this room with me, and I got to get these back, so this is a rush, so I apologize. But I had no issues with pucks ramping up, and it didn't really seem like there was a gap anywhere. So I was happy with that. It did a good enough job there. Not the most protective, like you can see, like my CCM one definitely has overlap. My old 1X has overlap. This one kind of has a bit of more closure there. But this is nothing I was really worried about. It seemed to do its job pretty good. So yeah, that's decent for me there. Nothing to really complain about. Now, my next spot of complaint, though, is, let's see the best way to show this, is the fingertip protection. So this is adjustable now. You can, it Velcros in right here, so it can move up and down for how tight it is and how close it is to your fingers. So my one complaint is, even when it's closed, your fingertips are still kind of exposed, especially when they're wrapping around a stick. I like this version better. I'm a fan of, like, this wrapped version is kind of how Warrior's been doing it. I like this version more because I find, as you can see when you close your hand, it kind of covers the fingertips a bit better, whereas this one still leaves them a bit exposed even if you do them tighter, just because it doesn't really have that like big of a difference on the actual wrap part. So that's my one complaint. Some companies have issues doing this. I don't think JRZ does, because I've used the JRZ blocker like this before. But I know CCM does, where they added this, and I have a hard time picking up pucks with this, or sticks with the CCM one, because it gets in the way of your fingers. This one doesn't, so it's all just kind of how you make them. But I guess that's about it for there. Nothing huge on the side. There's not usually any protection there, but this side on this piece on as well. You get some Gen Pro down here for just durability instead of having a binding, which is always nice. Now, the one awesome thing about this glove is, or I don't know if it's on, but my personal preference is this black material is like a Sure Grip. So it's on the grip of the 2X Pro catching glove if it's an option. You can get it on CCM gloves. The difference is this one is actually grippy and it's like textured, where CCM's is a much cheaper material now. I love this grip material. It feels, I like the feel of it on my hands. It just gives you a little bit more grip, especially when wet. So that's an option as well. They let you choose different options there. I would get it just full out because I like that material, and I have some gloves I really like that have always had it and I'm a big fan of. So that about sums it up for the JRZ Fusion blocker. I'm a huge fan of this blocker. Like I mentioned it on the pads, if JRZ was a different manufacturer, this set would have a ton of hype behind it, and it really disappoints me that they don't. Because this blocker is one of the best on the market, and I've used like all of them. And it's not like a normal retail price because they are direct. The great thing, they'll do custom graphics, they'll do custom changes and stuff for you want, and they'll give you a ton of options. Talk to them, ask them, see what they'll do. They'll work with you. They're great. I can't recommend this blocker enough, to be totally honest. I definitely suggest you check out the rest of my review for the sets, because to be honest, it's pretty close in how I like it. But I'm really impressed with this blocker, so much so that I'm buying a custom set of this for myself. I think that about sums it up of this review. Huge thanks to JRZ for sending me this gear so I could do demo it, test it out, and do this review. Remember, if you liked this video, like it, subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, hit the bell icon on YouTube. That way you get notified when I have a new video. And make sure you check out my Instagram page, because I do small little videos where I talk, or like picture kind of things where I talk about gear that's not big enough for a YouTube video, but it's kind of interesting or some useful information. And remember, if you ever do purchase a piece of gear because of one of my videos, please reach out to manufacturer on social media, let them know. Helps me get on their radar so I can get gear like this and do demos on and talk about and all that. So thank you very much for watching, and take it easy.